Does your bike have one of these crappy halogen bulbs? You want to take it from this into an epic light like this, then this is the video for you. And while we're going to be working on a specific model, the Sherco 500 Supermoto, the thing that I think will be most beneficial to a lot of you is we're going to show you how to take a single beam LED, give it more functionality. In case of this one, we're going to have three-way functionality, a low beam, a high beam, and a really high beam. I know so many of y'all that are running around with a little LED light on the top of your motor. If you want them to actually work like street legal lights, this is the thing you should do. I've had a number of bikes over the years now where I can dim and brighten the single beam bulb, and the cops do not give me a hard time. Now, the benefits of switching from a halogen bulb to an LED bulb is almost not even worth talking about most of the time. I think we all get it. But a quick summary is that these LED lights, they put out much brighter light while using less power. They last longer. They typically last the length of the vehicle now. And everybody understands, even Sherco themselves. And of course, I buy mine, and the next model year, they gone to an LED light that looks way better. But that's all right. We can take care of it ourselves, and probably way brighter than that bulb is too, because that's got to adhere to some DOT standards. Why we're going to try to remain civil out there on the street with our low beam. When we go to high beam, who gives it? I want the dumbest light I can get. Before I show you the light, just to show you, here's a quick clip of me at night riding around. We'll do some comparison there at the end. Annoyingly, my action camera has like a mode it goes into when it's dark called like Pure Tune, and it looks, I'm gonna like try to dim the color down in editing to try to make it actually look like what it looks like at night. But these action cameras, I go back and edit the footage, sometimes I'm like, that's not what my eyes saw. So let's show you the actual light we're gonna be using to replace this one. And here's again where we're gonna get to a real specific brand and a model, but again, this could be used as a general guide. So I wanted a light that would fit in this triangle and actually fill it in pretty good. I think some of the smaller Baja lights and the knockoffs, the little squares will fit in here. And there's some 3D prints to make that happen, but I wasn't satisfied with that. I wanted a little triangle LED. So I kind of looked around and I found this light, Halo from Novasight. I'd never heard of these guys before. I looked up some reviews. They seem like a decent brand. Nova did send these to me. Novasight, kind of told them what I would be up to, and they were happy to send them to me. I think I might have an affiliate program with them. I don't know. These are never worth that much anyway. But yeah, it's not a paid video. They don't get to approve what I say and have any say-so in what I say. But just let you know that they did send this product out to me. You guys know for years we've gone with Baja designs on all these lights, and those are awesome. Very expensive. I know some of y'all were thinking, can you try something not so... Okay, this is not so bad. There's a caveat. They don't sell these in singles. You have to buy these in duals. They said if enough people request these in singles, they would consider it, but I had to get a dual pack. Very well equipped bit of a kit here. Is their little 3-inch light pod. They come in a number of different patterns here. This is the full spread one. The one we're going to be putting on that's kind of like a mixed pattern. You got a couple of these little things that clip over it. And honestly, these guys are really well set up for like kind of the Jeep world, automotive Jeep, car world, whatever. They come with these really cool wiring harnesses. I kind of was playing with this on a test battery, and like this makes life super simple, and it's completely useless to what we're doing and doesn't help us out. But how do you get a light like that into here? This is where things are not so straightforward. I went online and I found that there's a number of 3D prints out there to put different lights in here, like I said, the Baja ones, but I didn't want one of those lights. I wanted this Nova light. So what I did is I actually bought one of those prints, sent it to our buddy Rivet, as well as a set of these lights. That's right. Look at this wizard stuff he came up with. He took that design, he made it a 2-part thing. I feel bad because I literally told Rivet this like it's kind of like a throwaway thing. Like, wouldn't it be cool if you could swap the lenses around? And he builds this. These are magnets, corresponding magnets. Look, it locks in. This one's glow in the dark. This one just matches the bike so freaking well. And look at this. They give you this little yellow lens here. He designed it so it works with it. Look, this is nuts. I feel almost bad that I put him to it. So we're gonna have this with a halo ring light in here. That's gonna look so good. I know you're thinking, Jake, I'm not an electrician. This is gonna be way too complicated. I'm gonna guide you through it. We're gonna take this very, very simply. But we're gonna start real basic here. I want you to have an understanding of what the hell's going on. What the helly? That's what the kids say now, right? I don't know what that means. How do things work in the first place? You got a battery here with a plus and minus and a light bulb. How do we power it? Well, we have to hook up both the negative and the positive, and it shines, right? What about dual element bulbs, one with a high and low beam? Well, what those have is another element inside here that turns on. How do you wire it with 2 elements? Well, you actually still just keep one negative, but you add another positive. The negative splits off and goes to both of these, but we have to complete the circuit with both. And now you're going, why aren't you using all these other colors? Because I think they're dead, but hang on. One for one element, one for the other. Switches would be on the positive side of things, as well as the fuses, relays. The negative is always just the negative. The negative goes to the battery or to some ground that goes back to the battery. And that's how a normal bulb works. Let's say you have your high and low beam, okay? What happens if we have a single beam LED? In other words, it just turns on and it's at one level of brightness. How do we make this act like a high and low beam? What we actually want to do is we want to dim this LED. Now I know you're going to say that's not the same as, you know, having different patterns. I get you, but I've also had, what, 3 bikes now? This will be my 4th bike with a setup like this. Actually in the real world works just fine, but how do you dim an LED? Well, what this is going to do is going to help us dim this. Now you might think it's dimming it by maybe reducing the power, acting like a restrictor or something, resistor. No, actually what it does is it turns this bulb on and off incredibly fast. So fast that your eyes don't see it. Sometimes it does get picked up on camera though, when you can see a light flickering or doing some kind of weird pattern when it's not in the brightest mode. You see a lot of LED taillights doing that on video. Your eyes don't see it that way. And the cool thing is our little box that we're gonna be using to do all this with, it's tunable for the low beam. You can have more than 1 low beam on it. You technically could have up to like, I think 3 levels of dimming and then a high beam. We're gonna have 3 the way we're gonna set it up. It's honestly really simple. I could draw this more complex and kind of show you all what's going on in this, but I think this is simple enough. We're gonna get into the meat of it when you actually look at the wiring on the bike. The wiring on the bike right now probably could just run this headlight on its own. This pulls a little less watts than the stock bulb does. So if we really wanted to, we could cut this end off, we could change it to the other one, and we could power this whole thing. Again, it would just be an on-off. Like we'd probably wire it to run on the high beam and low beam would be nothing. We're gonna be taking the high, low, and running light switches, basically just gonna act as signals to tell our little computer here what to do. And we're actually just gonna run a separate power up to it. Novasight kit comes with a whole big chunky wiring harness. Again, that's an automotive kind of thing. It's doing stuff that we don't need or want, so I don't actually care about that. Instead, I love how easy the headlight is to take off on that bike. We're gonna be taking this wiring right here and we're going to cut this thing right off. Now in your instructions here, you'll have a page that shows this, which will look scary to you initially. It's not scary. This is actually pretty darn simple. This is the little magic box right here. This box also acts as a relay as well. That's what's really cool about this. We don't have to run an inline relay. We just can run this, and this can handle way more juice than we're gonna be running through it as well. Let's start by doing something a little scary. Take this little tail right here. We're gonna cut that off. So we need to find out what these 4, 5 wires do. Get yourself a pair of wire strippers. We're just gonna start stripping all these back. These are easy enough to use. Let's get a multimeter. There's lots of different $high multimeters, but a lot of times when I'm doing these videos, I just show you guys on this really cheap one right here. We're gonna set this thing into DC. It always says 666 when I start it on camera. And look, just as a quick demonstration here, these are very simple, right? Touch one side here, touch the other over here, and we're gonna get current running through this. So if I go like this, see we don't have anything, or if I go like this, we don't have anything. This shows us, oh, this is a complete circuit when we do this. Guess what happens if you go backwards? Oh my God, it's gonna explode. No, you're just gonna get negative numbers, negative voltage. This is very simple. Yeah, get you a multimeter, set it in DC. This kind of sets where the decibel place is. So you see here, I've made myself a little chart. We have all our different color wires, and we're gonna mark what they do. This is all upside down, which is doing a number on my dyslexia. Now on this bike, we actually need to start and run it to get all these turned on. Gotta make sure they're not touching to start, because if they are, and apparently I forgot to strip the brown one, good chance we'd end up popping a fuse. So yeah, make sure they're not touching themselves or anything else. Just kind of get them sort of separated here. Everything's jumping around. Stay still. My calculations are correct. Let's grab one of these greens here. Oh. Let's try the black one. No. Oh, look at this, look at this, look at this. We're getting power on the brown and the green. This green and white is our negative. The brown is our positive for our running light. Just double check we're not getting power anywhere else. I feel pretty safe to say the brown is our running. Let's go to low beam and see what happens. Now this brown will stay running, to double check that, but it'll stay running in all the settings, which is good. Let's see, blue is still nothing. Black, there it is. Black is our low beam. And now let's go to high beam. Let's double check, by the way, that the black is still, the low beam doesn't turn off. That won't really affect us, but it does look like blue is the high beam. It won't matter that the low beam circuit stays on this one when it goes to high beam. But anyway, there's our little chart there. That's the only real thing we needed that was going to be complicated. Everything else gets pretty easy from here. Now we kind of have to do the same process again that we just did for this piece. I'm going to cut this big connector off. I don't mean to run that. There are 4 wires inside. Wires in this are different thicknesses too. 2 of them only power the running light. I like that the bigger ones are black and red. Take a wild bet what those do. Just like before, I've made myself a chart that corresponds with our 4 wires on here. And the difference now is instead of using a multimeter, we're just gonna use a test battery. I've made myself a little extension for my battery. I'm gonna take a wild bet here. And by a wild bet, I'm pretty darn sure. We're gonna touch that the black is gonna be the negative, and then this thicker red one is gonna be our positive. We can just do this. No, this isn't gonna shock you. This is low voltage DC. Oh yeah. That is definitely our main beam right there. This is what we expected. Black, our main negative. We just write negative for that because that's negative for everything on there. And the red, we'll call it main because it's the main light. Let's try the little white wire. Oh, look at that. That is one of the little halo ring lights. I'm going to take a wild guess. This is, oh, there's the more amber one. See, that's the amber one. I know I've got the shield on it right now. Let's pull the shield off. This will make life easier. Yep, white is our white light and yellow is our amber light. I'm just going to set it up with one of these. I'm just trying to see which one I like more. I think I'm going to go with the amber one. Nova Light wired this very smart and simply. So our yellow wire is our yellow running light and our white wire is our white running light. There you go. If you've paid attention, though, the only thing from this that we are still missing out of everything that was gathered is our main wiring, which we're going to bring up from the battery itself. I just think that's simpler. Like I said before, I don't want to try to go off of what's on there, mainly because I just want to use all that stuff as switches, and it's a lot simpler if we just run our own wiring. That way, by the way, we know we're overkill. What this bike has running to its battery right now is one of those little SAE connectors that goes down to the battery so you can charge it up. Looks like this right here. And it sits, where is that? Right here. And here's the deal. This has already got a nice fuse on it, more than big enough for what I need to run to that headlight. I think it's like a 7.5. And so what I'm going to do, so I just picked up one of these extensions. This is the even thicker gauge than what's on there, so we know we're good with that. This is not gonna catch fire. Always go bigger, don't go smaller. The battery posts on this bike are pretty minimal, and so to avoid just running a bunch of extra crap, because I'm just gonna go off this little SAE connector. The only time I'm ever gonna use this is when I want to charge the battery or put it on a battery tender. Otherwise, this thing's gonna be not plugged into anything, so I'm just gonna have the wire from my headlight come up here. So I'll just unplug it, plug it into the charger if I want to use the charger, get done the charger, plug it back in the headlight. This seems really simple to me. Does mean we'll need to pull our shroud and tanks off so that we can run the wire up. So easy to work on. Actually, I think this is a good length right here because yeah, that's going to run down through the harness. That's good to note. We're going to cap that back. We're going to come back to this then later. I found another one of these random little SE connectors. It's a little smaller. I'm actually just going to cut the end off. That's the way I'll have a break point down at the battery and another easy break connection point up by the headlight. So we need to take anything off. Super simple. This will be the main power from the battery. Well, now we come to the part that's probably going to be terrifying for most of you. But look, we have our headlight wiring, our bike's wiring, and our little control unit. We've marked everything, we know what it is, and we can read spoken language. And now you're thinking, oh, you're gonna have to learn to solder. Nope, surprise, we're just gonna use these. I've been using these things for years. These are those cool little heat shrink solder glue all in one. All you need to use is a heat gun or a lighter, honestly, if you really want. I've learned to trust these things. I've been using them for a few years now, and I don't have a problem with them. Y'all ready? Okay. Now, this is a bit long. We can definitely shorten this up quite a bit. We're gonna take this entire stack. We're going to shorten this up a bit. Then we're going to take this entire stack and we're going to put some heat shrink on it just to go ahead and clean this up a bit. I love that right there. That's already so much simpler looking. Cool it in my hand here for a second. What I want to do is I'm going to take another 2 pieces of the same heat shrink. I'm going to go ahead and put them down on there. I'm just doing this with my hand to absorb some of the heat out of this so that the new piece of heat shrink doesn't shrink when I put it on. But these, we will tuck these. These are like the pants. We're going to pull them up and kind of tuck everything in just to try to help clean it up a bit. You just gotta remember when we're heating the rest of these up, might want to hold my hand over these just to keep these from shrinking. We'll pull these up when we're done. Let's just start here from the beginning. I know it's, again, this gets scary. There's a lot going on here. Focus in on the first part of our instructions where it says lamp 1. Now the negative will go to the negative, and that's something we can wire that now, but let's just hang off on that. Let's not worry about that. Let's look at the positive on lamp 1, and it's showing here that we need to run our orange and striped wire, and our violet and striped wire, which is right here. And these are the only two that look like this, by the way. You're not going to get these confused with any other ones. Let's strip these back a bit. Now we have these two, and these need to go set to our positive on our lamp, which we know is our main, which is red. So these guys need to go to this guy right here. I'll start by taking these two wires. First, let's just give these a little twist together. I'm going to take my heat shrink tubing here. I'm going to run it down. I'm going to go to one of these blue pieces. I'm going to take these wires, all three of them now. All we're going to do is just twist these together. I'm going to do anything fancy. I know you always see online people are doing these like crazy fancy twists on these things. Just don't think it's necessary. Then we're going to run this guy back over it here. And you see there's a piece of solder there in the middle. Put that right over the center point. Now we bust our heat gun out. Try not to heat any of our heat shrink that's downhill on either end. Just going to try to focus just on this and not melt the camera either. And the big thing with this stuff too is you got to just, you want to make sure it shrinks all up on there, and you want to see the solder also let go in it. It'll look like T1000. Because it's transparent, it's really cool. You'll see this happening. Yeah, I don't know how well the camera's picking it up, but it really looks like the T1000. That cool for a second here. So that's soldered, glued, waterproofed, everything. And I tell you, the first time I ever tested these, by the way, I soldered a piece of wiring and I did one of these connectors on another piece, put both on a vise and yanked on them. And in both cases, it broke the wire before it broke the solder point. I trust these things. I think these things are just fine. You're so scared. Look, we've already done part one. Let's go to the next wire on here. The next wire is the red wire. Red wire goes to switched power. This is switched power. This is something that when we turn the bike on, we want to come on. This kind of tells the whole unit to wake up. In that case, what I want to do is I want to go on the positive of our running light, which is brown. That is the brown wire. Brown and the red need to go together. I'm going to show you how we're going to actually put these together. Instead of putting them together like this, we're actually going to do them like this. And I'll tell you why. Because these are also going to power something else as well. We want this to turn on our yellow running light on our headlight, which we know is the yellow wire. And now let's actually look at the orange and purple wire. And what these guys go to is the fused switch power to the battery. It doesn't have to be switched. It's power or switch 12 volt. Our wire that goes to the battery, SAE connector. I'll have to use one of the bigger connectors again. You still scared? Next on our list is the yellow wire. So we're going to run this into our low beam, which doesn't get used anywhere, by the way, on anything else. That means when we're in running light only, which this bike lets me do, this will have 0 running to the yellow wire, and that will run it at not connected 20%. And then when I go to low beam, it's going to go to 50%. And that's why we're going to connect these two. Get the yellow one, it's kind of up to you. This bike's got that unique situation where it has three-way mode already on it. We're just making it kind of more cool. Those things, where people are flashing at you. Hey man, turn your high beam off. You can go, that's not my real high beam. This is. You can be that guy. Hopefully though, no one does that. Honestly, the goal of this is not to be annoying. Woo. There goes the smoke from the towel. Good old towel smoke when you get the shop towel underneath you smoking. You know you got some good heat going there. There it goes. Basically, I'm just going until I see the solder melt into it. It's a low heat solder, and it melts into it, and you get that T1000 look. Now we need to go to the white wire, and that is going to go to our high beam, which we know is our black wire. No, wait, blue. Oh, wait, black? I did this the wrong way. Oh no, I've made a slight mistake here. I ran the blue wire into the yellow, and I meant to do is run the black wire into the yellow. Now this may seem like a big deal, but I'm actually just going to depin this and switch it because that's going to be easier than trying to cut and resolder it. Am I allowed to be a man and make a mistake? It's because I'm filming here. Yeah, a lot of times you can just kind of come in here and you'll see there's like, if you actually look down in these connectors, you can see a very simple way to do that. So we're going to pop the blue out. All right, like it never happened. High beam is white, so we run our white wire to what would be the high beam, which was blue and is now black. So white to black. It's been terrifying, I know, but look, you're just down to a couple wires. Now, the black on here is going to go to the ground, the green and white wire. That's our ground, that's our negative. And out of all that, there is one thing left. We have our negative from our main battery cable right here into the negative on the back of our headlight. Who would have guessed? Oh, the solder, there goes the solder. T1000. And the only thing left that you will now notice is this little white wire, which this was to our white running light, which we said we weren't gonna run, so we're gonna cut that off. And you probably could just be leaving it like this. But if you wanna do it the nice way, take you a little piece of heat shrink, make sure you get a tightest piece on here you can get. We're gonna heat shrink it on with it not all the way down. This will all make sense in just a second. Then you can take this piece, fold it over, put a little bit bigger piece of heat shrink over it. All right, there, we've actually wired it all. Only thing left to do is electrical tape, clean it up, and we'll move our other pieces down. I'm gonna try to start and end all the electrical tape where one of these pieces of heat shrink will be able to come over it. Well, now I just need to run my extension wire from the front to the back. I'm just following the existing wiring harness. All right, all we gotta do now is pop this guy out and put our new one in. First we need to do is remove this adjusting screw here on the front. Go ahead and take it all the way out. There's a little spring on the back side here. All right, there it is. Spring's still kind of down in there. And then this, we just kind of flex it a little. There you go. Once you get out one side, it comes out pretty easy. Cool thing too with this one, we're only adding like maybe a pound of weight. Before we pop this on though, we do need to take off a piece for a screw to go onto. We'll go onto here. Oh, wait, you know what? That's right. This is too, I remember now. This is too big. We tested this before. Right now, I'll just use this small 8mm nut. We'll actually get a correct one of those later. I'm a little bit of a bear to get it in, but how often are you taking this in and out? So for now, I'm just going to use a little 8mm nut. But ideally, you should be able to turn this, without putting a tool in the back side. This is how you actually adjust the headlight. So we'll fix that. Now we just need to reconnect everything, which at the end of the day is just 2 wires. Already pretty good room up here. And when you go to this style headlight, this LED, this actually is less space this takes up back here. So that's pretty cool. Fish my brake lines back in. Just turn to the left, turn to the right. There's definitely more room than there was before. Here we are at night. Bike really wants to be running for the light to be on. It'll only stay on for a few seconds. Okay, it does that every time you start. See how it flashed? It's like a program mode. Just ignore that. We got our little halo ring in here, our mixed light, and that's our low beam. There's the high beam, and then you have your really high beam. Check out how that looks down here on the field. And we'll go down some of these darker streets here, and you'll see the low beam is amazing. Middle beam, high beam. So here we are in low beam, and my only concern is for oncoming cars. This thing is pretty bright, even with it down at 20%. It's just a real white light. It's kind of intense. Like this car coming up right here. Like, look, I'm just gonna be nice and just turn this away from you until you pass, because this is, I feel like it might be a bit much. I suppose that was a stop. I might have been freaking him out. I don't know. That's fair enough. Here we are on an absolutely dark road. This is our low beam now. That's pretty darn good if we compare that to the stock one. Here's our mid beam, and I will say the mid beam or high beam, I still call that a high beam. Yeah, it definitely gets a little bit more. The big difference is when we go to the high beam. Look at that. That is a lot of light right there. Then we compare that to stock. I think you're seeing this is a very big difference. It was like not enjoying riding the bike at night before. Now, I feel like I'm a bit of a terrorist because the light is so bright. And I'm a bit concerned that I might be a little overly bright to other drivers on the road. We're gonna go try something here. Amber lens installed, and I have to say, I think this is helping out. Yeah, that's actually reasonable.
I don't know how that looks on camera. It's doable. I love how that softens it. I actually like amber light on a lot of things. I have a whole big theory that I think we should actually start telling everyone they have to go to amber lights, like the OEMs. Well, they go to LEDs, but then go to ambers, because it's a whole thought process I have. It doesn't matter right now. But look, that is my low beam. Look how soft that is. Look how nice that is. That is a reasonable low beam. Actually, on the way up here past several cars, nobody flashed at me. Go from that to high beam to really high beam. I mean, it's nicer on you and everybody else, actually. Let's retest it on that same road real quick. Now let's do like a three-way comparison. Stock low beam, LED low beam on the white, and then our amber on low. Let's switch it up to mid light. That's only going to be a test between the LED lights, and kind of see how they do here. Finally, all three on the high beam. What are we thinking here? I would almost wouldn't mind a blend between this and the no lens, and there is a really easy way to do that, which is called you drill some small holes in one of these lenses. I might experiment with that. You know, like on my MT-07, we threw some real bright lights on that thing, and you know, it had a low high beam function. But the problem I ran into was that even the low beam, it was like too intense. It's like the whiteness of the LEDs. And I know this, I think this is like 6,000. I think those Bajas are like 5,000. Those are not insane, but that's still just really intense at night. And that's where the amber's kind of nice. But what I did was I added an amber strip in there to really cut the top of the line off, the top of it, so that it wasn't as bad for their drivers. I think you can do something like that, you can build yourself a pretty good little light. Oh yeah, I think that's pretty darn all right there. Great success. Big thanks to Nova Light, who sent us the light. I think that's the only thing in this video someone sent me. The controller, I bought that myself, but it's like the third or fourth one of those I've owned. They're awesome. By the way, yeah, on the video, if you see like a strobing, remember that is just the way the light looks on camera. It doesn't look like that in real life. I don't know how many of you are going to 3D print this. Are we going to make this 3D print available, Rivet? I don't know. I mean, if you want... You'd have to get in the Discord regardless. I don't know. To get in the Discord, you'd have to join the Patreon. It's just $1 a month. But yeah, he put the time in to make this thing. So for those of you out there with the Shurkos, you know, if you want to follow his procedure, we'll probably make it available. But I have a feeling a lot of you all are just going to be interested in the ability to dole out a light, to wire up a light, and hopefully that's helpful. I'm out here squidding it a little bit. I'm sorry. I apologize. It's inappropriate, but it's been very, very hot. I'm a bad person. Don't do as I do. Okay. I'll see y'all next video.
I caught that. Why did that happen?